So it's my great pleasure to welcome to Time Space Visualiser costume designer June Hudson. Hello, June.
Hello. Hello, everybody. This is a new one, isn't it, in lockdown?
It is, yeah.
Well, we got round it, didn't we, somehow?
Yeah. We can still talk to everyone. It's great.
We can.
Yeah. Now, we know you as a costume designer on Doctor Who, but was that your first job in television costuming, or had you worked quite a long time?
No. My first job in television costuming was the late 50s at ATV at Elstree, when it was not only black and white, it was live. And I did Emergency Ward 10, Sergeant Cork, and all those alarming, particularly the Emergency Ward 10, because there was no recording, they weren't recorded, which meant that if a nurse went on without her apron or there was something wrong, it was too bright, you couldn't do anything about it. It was live, but it had the advantage that you hoped nobody was recording it. Well, they didn't, you see, in those days, and they'd equally forget it. They'd forget the bits that went wrong and the lines that were dropped. So yes, I've been a costume designer for a very long time, and I didn't join the BBC until the 3rd of January 1966.
Okay.
And I left, I think it was 1992.
Wow.
So I was fortunate enough to design in the golden years of Doctor Who, and the golden years of television, particularly the 70s, 80s, were just wonderful. And I consider myself so lucky to have been working and designing for the BBC at that time.
Yeah.
And above all, of course, to have had the wonderful luxury of designing Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And it's so nice that you take such an interest, in this old series that was a long time ago.
So you were working at the BBC. Did you choose to go and work on Doctor Who, or were you asked to go?
As a matter of fact, Doctor Who is the only programme in my career at the BBC I ever asked to do, because I had done that. I mean, I'd done sort of all sorts of productions, mainly period Dickens. My CV runs into 14 pages of shows I've done, but they were mainly, they were modern and period and all the rest of it. And I enjoyed it, because I think at the BBC we were scheduled to do things. You went into the office where the costume office, and they had a huge graph on the wall, and you could just look at it and see blanked out what you were going to do over the next 3 months. I mean, you were scheduled to do it, and you'd look at it and say, oh gosh, I'm doing Dolly and Son, or and I went in, and I was scheduled to do a modern production. And I said, I said, why have I never designed Doctor Who? Why have you never put me on Doctor Who? It's a designer's dream. So I said, but June, you mainly do period, and it's a kids show, it's part of the kids department. Normally we didn't think that you would want to do it. I said, of course I want to do it. I've been waiting for you to cast me as a costume designer. So that is how I came to design Doctor Who. I actually demanded to do it.
So what was it about the show that appealed to you?
Well, as I said earlier, it was a designer's dream. It was the unlimited possibility of using all my knowledge of period and all my imagination and curiosity about everything, because I am very curious about everything. I'm interested in everything, which means you can't move in my flat for books on everything. And I mean, I think that it gave one the opportunity to use, you could just use anything, interest, for instance, in thinking about monsters, the curious forms of nature. It was just wonderful, and there was no constraint at all of which you would normally have in a period production, though you do design within a period, but even so, I mean, Doctor Who science fiction, the sheer fun of it, the sheer joy of just doing something new. Well, you're not going to do something new. I think that is something I found out very early on when I tried to design for Tom Baker an original shirt. There is no such thing as a garment that has not been designed before in some form. And after struggling and doing endless little sketches and drawings, I thought, nobody's done a front like that, or a collar, and only to find, of course, they had. So I found that I could not design anything. I don't think you really, to be quite honest with clothes, you know, if you look back far enough, you'll find somebody got there first. But at the same time, you just find something that was either a very long way away, because people didn't fly around the world so much as they do now, a long way away, or being used a long time ago. So you could always find something and glue ideas together, Oriental, European, whatever, you know. This was a wonderful thing about designing Doctor Who. You could just do anything. And they always cast gorgeous people. Like Suzanne Danielle, well, and Lala Ward, who, you know, just lovely, and Mary Tam. And it just, and of course, the Tom Baker, the incomparable Tom Baker.
Yeah, you've mentioned Tom Baker there. Obviously, you're probably most famous for having redesigned his costume. Yeah. Was that quite a daunting task? Because obviously he got such an iconic look. Yes.
Well, John Nathan Turner said, I want him to have a new costume. And I thought, what an honour, you know. I was very excited, then scared, then thinking, yes, it mustn't be like anything he's worn before. And I thought, well, that'll be difficult, you know, because in fact, the Norfolk suit look, which I think really suits Tom, he's able to wear it, it's vaguely period. But also, Tom himself, you see, is the actor himself will show the way. I mean, Tom's enormous, strong and vibrant personality meant, and his height, 6'3", and he has this wonderful imagination and just sheer personality that I could dress Tom in a costume that would drown or dominate any other actor. There is no costume ever designed that could dominate Tom Baker. He will stand and the costume will always follow him. So I was able to really design anything. Tom Baker said to me, I will wear anything you design, June. So I said, well, that's very nice. So thinking about the colour, well, in a way, the colour shows itself, because there are sort of obvious no-nos, isn't there? I mean, it can't be black, that's a master, it can't be white, obviously. Green, no, too many green back, it's just not right, it would look like a porter. So gradually, each colour cancelled itself out, and it got smaller and smaller choice. I needed something fairly regal, which will have a maroon, I thought, is slightly royal, slightly dominating, and it will stand out. You will see it wherever that Tom is. That colour will stand out distinctly among all the other colours. So it's absolutely perfect for Tom, and that was a colour that I decided on finally. But that was the thinking behind it.
Yeah.
That it had to be a strong colour that suited Tom, obviously, And that did perfectly. And I happened to find a whole roll, a whole bolt of wonderful face cloth in this marvelous maroon color. So in a little fabric shop that sold offcuts in just off Oxford Street. And I remember going down the steps into this basementy place where there's all this fabric, and there was this fantastic bolt of fabric that was perfect for the coat. And Mr. Davis at Morris Angels cut Tom's coat because he is the acknowledged master of tailoring. And my goodness, he did the most beautiful job. The coat itself was based on a Russian soldiers, a Russian military coat. Again, you see, that coat, the length of it, the weight of it. I mean, okay, the cloth was not particularly thick. It was quite a very, very good quality, very fine wool, but it was heavy. When it was made up into this coat to fit Tom, it was very heavy, and it would take someone of Tom's height and strength to wear it, to carry it. And so I wanted to do it all in one colour. His breeches, I made actually, or I designed, because of course when I say I made, I mean Mr. Davis, but a Norfolk jacket, because actually a Norfolk jacket had been designed before. I'm just trying to remember, I think it was John Blum who designed it before, because that, I mean, I was told this afterwards. I mean, I didn't know, because I never really looked at other people's ideas, because however you can be influenced even if you don't want to, so it's better that you don't, because then your mind is completely free and you can do what you want to do. But I knew that vaguely, that period look, Tom had this wonderful ability to fit into any period, and I knew that he would look great. And it's a sort of a Norfolk suit. It's just personal taste, really. I just think he looked wonderful in that garment, and particularly the coat. I know he was very pleased with it. I had designed argyle socks and brogues, which I had got really, and I'm trying to think, I never thought, I should have thought what they were. Anyway, they were handmade, they're very expensive. Brogues, and he looked great in them. The only problem with that was that they didn't, they worked okay, wonderfully with the Norfolk suit, the Norfolk jacket and the breeches, and the argyles, but they did not work with the coat. And because I saw the first time he wore it, I don't know why, it was either there was an occasion that he'd got the big overcoat on, and I saw him from a distance, and it was just his ankles and feet in the brogue, and they looked odd with, and I said, oh, that's not working very well, or not working as well as it could. And so he always wore boots after that. So the shoes were, I mean, we kept them, but he never wore them, and the argyle. But he wore the argyles under the boots, but the boots, I mean, with that coat, these lovely brown boots looked great, and so that was sold. So that it sort of evolved. Now the scarf, it was a huge temptation as a designer to get rid of the scarf. I mean, I had been asked to design a whole new outfit, and it would have been an opportunity to get rid of the scarf. And as a designer, you can't help your sort of egotism as a designer. You know, you get rid of the scarf. And I did think of it very hard. And I finally decided that the scarf, Tom used it, you see. I knew that he used this scarf. I mean, you'd see it, he'd lasso things with it, or it would trail behind him. It had the element of humour that Tom always had, that one, and that scarf had the element of humour. And I knew that that scarf was part of Tom's personality and part of the Doctor. And it would be doing a great disservice to the show if I did not keep that scarf. And also it would work with that long, heavy coat that he was wearing.
Yeah.
It was the only sort of outfit that scarf would really work with the rest of his costume. The new costume on design, the scarf would work with. But of course, he couldn't use the old scarf because it was rather a skinny scarf actually, and in the wrong colours. So I decided that I would use not wool, chenille.
Okay.
And because it was such a long, I'll tell you what Tom did with that scarf. It was chenille, and I got it, and I chose colours in this chenille, which is a lovely light material. And for a scarf of that length, I mean, wool would have been impossibly heavy. So I made two, because I didn't personally, obviously I got them made, but it was Roger Olmsted's stepmother that actually knitted the two scarves. So Roger Olmsted, whom the fans will know, has made many of Doctor Who clothes and props and monsters. And Tom looked at the two scarves and he said, can you sew them together and get an extra long scarf? And this was this ludicrously long scarf. So he ended up with this incredibly long scarf. And all I can say is, thank goodness it was chenille. Because of the weight, of course.
Yeah.
And lovely colours. So, and the hat came from Hudson. So that's the hat maker. And he didn't really, I mean, he had the hat, he used it as a prop. But of course, like most actors, they don't really like wearing hats. I mean, as they say, the smaller the part, the bigger the hat. You don't normally have a leading man continually in the hat. Sometimes you do, but most you don't. And Tom used it as a prop. He used it, but he never really wore it. And also with that magnificent hair, and it would be a pity to wear a hat. So that was why. So anything else, gloves, we didn't really know. We sort of left it. I did buy some, but we never really wore them.
Yeah.
But that is the story of the coat.
Yeah.